So The Surrender wasn't a movie that I had on my radar, but since I accidentally bought a full year's worth of membership of AMC Plus, I said, hey, why not, Better put it to use. And they also include the streaming service Shudder on with your AMC Plus, so I always frequently check that out and see what kind of horror movies that they have on there. And I saw The Surrender, and I was like, hey, that looks pretty interesting. I recognize that chick from The Boys. She's really annoying in that movie. I wonder if she's annoying in this film. Spoiler alert, she is. But oh boy, am I glad I checked out The Surrender. I did have my worries though, because this film felt like one of those movies that we see all the time, a horror movie with old people doing old people things, being old people creepy. And I didn't really used to mind these kind of things in horror movies, these old people. Well, I watched a video by a creator named Possessed by Horror, and she talked about how one of her least favorite tropes in horror is creepy old people. And like I said, I didn't really notice it until she talked about it. So she pretty much just ruined old people for me. But like what I've been saying, to my surprise, this film doesn't do what I thought it was going to do. And from the very opening scene of this film, it tells you that, hey, this is going to be a crazy wild ride, and I hope you're ready for it. And that opening scene literally had my jaw to the floor, because I was like, man, I've been saying, I thought that we were going to have, a slow type of burn film, it got some old people, a lot of talking in the film, and there is little hints of that in this film, but like I said, immediately from the jump, I was just like, oh, okay, movie, you have my attention. The film does a really good job of making you always wonder and trying to figure out what exactly is going on. But it's not the kind of confusion and wondering that is frustrating. For me, it kind of felt exciting, like you were trying to figure out a mystery and going along with these characters as they unfold this story as we're watching. But I can totally see that some people, this might not be their jam, and it can come off as hey, hurry up and get to the point kind of thing. Because it's really funny, because one of my favorite characters in this film, he literally doesn't say anything. He just comes in, looks around, sniffs a couple of people. When you watch a movie, you'll know what I'm talking about. And he pretty much doesn't say anything throughout the time he is on the screen. And I thought that was really well placed with this film, because the whole time you're kind of like, what exactly is going on? And you kind of see that through the lens of the main character, the daughter in this film, played by that girl who was in The Boys, the annoying lady in The Boys. She got a big head now. I wonder how that's going to play out. That's going to be really funny. But ultimately, I think that is kind of the point with this film. They want the audience to figure out what is going on, or come to their own conclusion of what is going on. When you read a book and you have to use your imagination to interpret certain things, and some people will read the same book as you and interpret certain scenes differently. Because we still read books, right? But like I said before, I can totally see people not vibing with this and wanting more answers than the film is actually giving us. I do feel like this film was trying to get us on that character's side, the daughter's side, trying to show her from her perspective, and trying to humanize her a little bit. And it just doesn't work. No, it doesn't work, because especially once you find out the reason why she's there, you're kind of just like, I don't feel bad for you. I don't have any feelings for you. You kind of get what you deserve kind of thing. It's kind of like the Last of Us TV series. If you're watching that, as a person that played the video game and I played part 2, you really feel for Ellie and Joel. You played an entire first game with them and you're like, man, I feel for you. And then something happens and they introduce a new character named Abby. And then they shift the focus onto her. And they say, hey, maybe what these characters from the first game that you loved and you forgave and, you grew up with, maybe they did something to this character, and this character has their own perspective and their own thoughts and feelings. Maybe she's the right one. And you're just like, no, this doesn't work. Sorry, been watching The Last of Us lately, and I've just been reliving my trauma all over again. And this is a horror film, so there's bound to be a few jump scares here and there. But how bad are the jump scares, you say? Well, let me tell you. There is one scene in particular that does the worst type of jump scare you can do in a horror film, is when they raise up the volume and then go boom, and they show some kind of creepy imagery, and I just don't understand why. Like, it kind of took me out of the film just a little bit after that. I was like, you didn't really need to do that. You're doing fine just up until then. But going back to the grief aspect of this film, I did see a lot of people online praise that aspect of this film, saying that it is an excellent portrayal of grief and loss, and you know, that is their opinion. They are welcome to have that opinion, and it's not necessarily a wrong opinion. Just for me personally, don't really get that. You know, yeah, there is mentions of grief and loss, and they do show you how that affects people in the movie. I kind of took it as like when you were growing up and we're supposed to be becoming adults and doing adult things, some of us really don't go fully into that adult phase of our lives, and sometimes you just are stuck wanting your mommy and your daddy. And that's what I think this film really shows. I do wish that the film kind of went a little bit more deeper into that aspect, but it gave me enough for where I was like, okay, I kind of see what they're going with. But hey, I am not complaining. I've been praising this film the entire video. I'm totally glad I witnessed what I witnessed, because that was something, and it will be something that I hold in my mind, and it will stay in my mind rent-free for the next couple of weeks until I watch a certain film that is coming up. Yeah, but I can't believe he's still making movies. So The Surrender, it's pretty damn good. I really enjoyed it. It's a pretty damn good story. It's really wild when it needs to be, and it gets to the point really quickly, and it keeps that pace throughout the film. There is one problem, and I'm pretty sure you saw that when you saw the thumbnail. The ending. The ending, man. I knew it was gonna happen. Like, literally, when I was getting ready to talk about this film, before I even watched it, I looked at this thing, I read the synopsis, and I was like, the ending's gonna suck. Like, I'm not gonna like the ending. And it's not a bad ending. It's just frustrating. And I feel like that's worse. When I'm watching a movie and if the ending is just bad, I'm like, oh, that was a bad ending to a film. But this one, it's like, it's not necessarily bad, it's just frustrating, and I feel like that's even worse, because at the end of the film, I audibly like screamed, bullshit! And I was like, yeah, I gotta talk about this. And I'm still thinking whether or not it ruins or, knocks the film down a couple of points for me because of that ending. And I don't know. You guys are gonna have to let me know in the comments what you think about the ending and how it affects the film for you afterwards. Because for me, I'm kind of at the point right now where I would recommend this film, but I would just tell people, hey, just be prepared to be kind of disappointed at the end. Everything else up to that point is really good, but at the end, you're kind of gonna be like, really? Really? But like I said, let me know what you think about The Surrender and its ending in the comments down below. Also, if you want to check out a really bad thriller film starring Freddie Prinze Jr. from Scooby-Doo, I mean, that's what I know him best for. You can go check out this video over here or wherever I put it. And hey, if you stayed to the end of this video, I want to thank you so much for watching this channel and these videos. This is a little passion project of mine, talking about films that not a lot of people on this space talk about. And until next time, this is Straight to VOD, and I'll see you next time.